Assalamu alaikum, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Eliza Fatma Rai, and I am the National VPI of IFMSA Pakistan. My team and I will be delivering this webinar on coordinator and local council sustainability. So I would request all of you to mute your mics so that we avoid any interruption. And in case if you guys have any questions, we will be more than happy to entertain them at the end of the webinar. So you guys can keep writing them in the chat and we will keep a tab of it. In case if we run out of time, we will be getting back to you guys on email or on WhatsApp to answer all of your questions. So I will just give you guys an overview of what we have as the objectives of this webinar. So the webinar's objectives are, we will be brushing over the structure of IFMSA Pakistan, its national cabinet and its local councils, along with the toolkits that we provide and the official documentation of the bylaws, the assistance that we provide to the coordinator colleges, and the assistant documentations that we provide to them, including their procedure of transition from a coordinator college to a permanent LC, along with the process of demotion from a permanent secretary. Kindly mute your mic, please. So along with this, we also have administrative incorporation and how do we deal with that as a VPI's team, and effective conflict resolution. So I hope you guys find this interesting and fruitful. So now Noor will be taking over and she will be starting the webinar.
Thank you so much, Eliza. Assalamu alaikum, ladies and gentlemen. I am Noor Fatma, and I would be covering the topic regarding the structure and potential of IFMSA and the different types of LCs therein. So first, going over the structure of IFMSA, we have an executive board, standing committees, and support division. And the exact same structure is duplicated at the level of the local council. The executive board consists of the president, secretary general, treasurer, vice president internal affairs, vice president external affairs, vice president activities, and vice president capacity building. In the standing committee, we have National Officer on Reproductive Health and AIDS, National Officer on Human Rights and Peace, National Officer on Medical Education, National Officer on Research Exchange, National Exchange Officer, and National Public Health Officer. Going over the support divisions, we have the New Technology Support Division Director and Publication Support Division Director. Now moving on to the potential of IFMSA Pakistan. IFMSA within it holds immense potential in the form of many opportunities, and I am going to narrate some of the opportunities over here. These include internships, such as offered by WHO and NE, exchanges that cover both research and professional exchange. This can be unilateral or bilateral, numerous activities, opportunities for capacity building of the members, international exposure via meetings and internships, etc. Individual development that covers both personal and professional aspects. Camps such as summer school, training sessions that include the sub-regional trainings called the SRT. Now, some of the examples of the SRTs that have been organized so far, but they are not limited to, include international peer education training, training new trainers, training new human rights trainers, global health or public health training, etc. So other than that, we have the external conference participation, small work groups, and task forces. Okay, so as a point of information, right now, our current VPCB Farhad is working with the task force for gender empowerment and representation. Other than that, we also have article submissions and magazines such as MSI 39, 41, etc. So the potential of IFMSA, it's not limited to the above mentioned points. There is a lot more for you to explore. Now, next we have the different kinds of LCs. So I would be giving you a general overview of these, and my colleague Ibrahim would be talking about them detailedly. We have a coordinator college, candidate LC, temporary LC, and then finally we have a permanent LC. Now, the journey of a college towards a permanent LC begins with the first student from that particular college becoming a member of IFMSA. Now, he or she is called a coordinator, and that specific college is called a coordinator college. Now, a coordinator college has less than 30 members. It does not have an NOC, and it has less than 3 months of IFMSA membership. As soon as it acquires an NOC and more than or equal to 30 members, it is upgraded to the level of a candidate LC. The coordinator becomes the president, and a structured local cabinet is formed. A candidate LC is supposed to conduct activities as well. The next step in this road is towards a temporary LC. Now, the candidate LC is supposed to attend the NGA, where it is going to pass a motion to become a temporary LC. And if that motion gets passed by 2/3 votes, it is given that status. A temporary LC is sustainable, it conducts activities, it has structured local cabinet, and it is evaluated by EB for 1 to 2 years. The next and the final step in this road is the formation of a permanent LC, which again the temporary LC after a period of 1 year is going to attend the NGA, pass a motion, and if that motion gets passed by 2/3 votes, the temporary LC is given the...
I'll just continue. A coordinator college, after having met the said requirements as already established, is converted to a candidate LC, immediately after which the interviews for the local cabinet are conducted by the respective national cabinet members. So a notable thing over here is the protocol, that in order for them to upgrade their status, they have to submit the no objection certificate to the VPI, the national VPI, the members database to the Secretary General, and the proof of their payment to the Treasurer. Once they have done so, they become a candidate LC. They, as a candidate LC, then attend the national GA, and they raise a motion for their upgradation to a temporary LC status. And subsequently, they get upgraded once they have the 2/3 majority to pass that motion. Then a temporary LC has to send in bi-monthly reports and ensure sustainability on their end, as well as smooth functioning. These factors are evaluated by the executive board, and if the executive board feels that they are doing a good job in maintaining the functioning of... So a temporary LC, so the temporary LC has to then send in bi-monthly reports and ensure sustainability on their end, as well as smooth functioning. These factors are evaluated by the executive board, and if the executive board feels that they are doing a good job at it and maintaining the functioning of the LC in a very good way, they validate their promotion to a permanent one. Now, without this validation, the status cannot be changed into a permanent LC. So even if you want to pass a motion on this, you have to first get the validation from the executive board. Now, moving on to the coordinator, and once you become, of course, a permanent LC, you have to fulfill all the requirements according to the bylaws and regularly submit the reports. Moving on to the coordinator's toolkit. So it is very challenging for a coordinator to solely ensure local growth of the IFMSA, since they themselves are new members with fragmented knowledge about the IFMSA, which is why we have this coordinator's toolkit designed. This document gives these coordinators a general idea about their job and the responsibilities that come with it. It intends to familiarize them with the structured procedures and the work ethics of the IFMSA Pakistan, and it focuses on strategies through which these coordinators can successfully establish a local council within their colleges. So these strategies mainly include the formation of a team to assist the coordinator in spreading the word, involvement of faculty member as a patron for support, and focus on productive member engagement. Moving on to the President's Toolkit. Could you move the slide? Great. So just like the toolkit for the coordinators, we have one designed for the presidents as well. The basic purpose of the toolkit is to provide standardized guidelines to all of the local council presidents. So it contains a brief introduction of the IFMSA Pakistan and the IFMSA itself, the list of the local councils that we have active in IFMSA Pakistan currently, and their current status, the duties of the members of the local executive board, the standing committee officers, and the support division directors. Something that is really important, and I would also encourage the coordinators to go through it as well, so that they also have a vivid picture about the standing committees and the roles that they have to establish within their local cabinet in the future, and accordingly work on those. Then it contains information regarding the procedures that are involved in the initiation of different projects and activities, assistance that is provided by the VPI in order to conduct these activities or in order to sustain the local councils, the frequently asked questions about the protocols of the IFMSA Pakistan, and the contact details of the current national cabinet. Moving on. Next slide, please. Do's and don'ts of of the IFMSA and the conditions that concern these do's and don'ts. So it is the official documentation that contains the set of rules which intend to govern and regulate the procession and the operation of these LCs. So subsequently the IFMSA Pakistan itself, of course, just like a constitution governs a country. Anyway, it is very comprehensive and it could be used by any member for any type of assistance. Another important thing to note is that these bylaws are not absolute. So they could be changed given that you propose a motion for the change itself, and later on it is voted upon by the majority at the National General Assembly. So these bylaws ensure that there is a standardized working procedures that are applicable in all the local councils so that the NMO could be sustained. Moving on. Next slide, please. Thank you. Okay. So next up, we have the assistance that we at our end provide to the coordinators. So these could be in the form of either supporting documents, a tour by the executive board or the national cabinet, or official references. So the supporting documents that we provide could be the introduction letter introducing IFMSA Pakistan to the administration of your college, an orientation letter giving them a general orientation about the IFMSA Pakistan, a patron letter asking for support from the patron, a template NOC, as well as personalized documents in case you need one in particular. Then we have the executive board or the national cabinet tour that intends to assist the coordinator in establishing the LC within their home college. What happens is that the members of the national cabinet or the executive board, they visit the college. So for now, till now, we have 2 EB tours that were quite successful. One was conducted in Sims, and after that, we had a lot of new members that came in because we had a very vivid picture of IFMSA given by the professional and the experienced people themselves. So however, due to the current situation, we are aware that we cannot conduct physical tours, which is why we are planning on development of the virtual tours in which the entire national cabinet and the entire local cabinet would be connected through any online platform, either Skype or Zoom. So that is how it would go on. Then we have the official references of the National Cabinet, where we provide the National Cabinet contact information to the university administration in case they want to verify about the IFMSA and the IFMSA Pakistan. And we also are willing to provide the international head office contact details of Denmark, for which the link is provided below. So that's all at my end. I would now hand it over to Shaji to continue.
Thank you so much, Ibrahim. Assalamu alaikum, everyone. This is Shaji Rahman Usmani, one of the general assistants to the VPI. Continuing from where Ibrahim left off, as he said that we provide certain documents to assist the coordinators because they are generally unaware of what IFMSA is and how it works and how they need to establish an LC. So what these documents do is that not only do they guide the coordinators regarding the workings of IFMSA via the coordinator toolkit, but they also effectively enable the coordinators with assistance from the VPI to upgrade the coordinator college to a candidate LC to officially kickstart the council in its workings. So these documents are, first up, we have the coordinator toolkit, which Ibrahim has explained in detail. Next up, we have the template NOC. As you may know, the NOC stands for the No Objection Certificate. And you need this document, you need to submit this document to your college administration so that they allow you to conduct your activities within the council, within your college, and so that you face no barrier. So we think that's a very official and professional document, and a coordinator may be clueless about how to write it. So we provide a template according to which the coordinator can formulate an official NOC and submit it, and then submit it to the VPI as well for verification. Next up, we have the patron letter. As the name implies, a patron is someone who, basically a patron is essential to formally introduce IFMSA to the college administration and to support the coordinator in official procedures and provision of NOC. Basically, you need someone to depend on, to count on when you want to conduct something, when you want to do something within the LC, so that you face no barriers and you conduct your activities smoothly, and so that you have support as well, someone who can link you to the college administration anytime you want without any hassle. To the right, you can see the sample NOC attached on the slide. It is just a rough draft according to which the coordinator may formulate an official NOC. Moving to the next slide. So now we have the introduction letter. So as the name implies that there may be a lack of awareness regarding IFMSA and its workings in the college and among the administration as well, especially in cities where IFMSA isn't widely established. Hence, it is necessary to properly introduce IFMSA, its structure, what it does, and how it would benefit the college in the long run, so that they get you an NOC and they allow you to do whatever you want within the LC. And that's what the letter is useful for. On the right, you can see the letter attached as well. The slide is visible. We'll move to it. Anyway, the last document that we give is the orientation letter. This letter is basically a letter that helps you impart awareness and knowledge about IFMSA among your fellow college students, so that you are able to recruit new members, you are able to get participation in your activities, in your workshops, to basically convince the college students about IFMSA and its cause, so they propagate it as well. As you can see on the right, the introduction letter, you may not be able to read it, but we provide all these documents to all coordinators as soon as they register with us. Moving to the next slide. Interview. So as all the presidents would know that at the start of every tenure, the presidents must go through an official interview process to select worthy candidates for the local cabinet positions. So this process encompasses a few principles. Basically, first of all, we have all the presidents opening calls for the local cabinet positions, and then in collaboration with the relevant members of the national cabinet, conduct interviews. And what I mean by relevant members is, for example, if you're conducting the LC interviews for the executive board, you have the VPI on board as well as the president of the local council. So both work in collaboration to conduct the interviews. When it comes to local officers and standing support division directors, the president collaborates with the respective standing committee national officers and support division directors to conduct the interviews. Secondly, the president may also choose to open calls for assistance to the executive board, standing committee officers, and support division directors in the LC. And why this is highly encouraged by us is because there is a concept known as LC sustainability, which my colleague will explain further in detail, but I would just like to brush up on it through this point. So basically, sustainability is how your LC survives, how your LC maintains its image and its operations. And for that, you need a very competitive executive board. And if you have that currently, if you have an executive board that is working hard, making good progress, so it should have assistants. Every local cabinet position member needs to have assistants so that they can impart knowledge and help their assistants get the appropriate experience and information to continue your office next year. So what this does is that your assistants are able to take up your position next year and maintain the sustainability of your LC, and they have their own assistants and the process carries on. Moving on. I've talked about what a coordinator college is. Now we'll talk about how it transitions to a candidate LC in detail. So basically, once the coordinator college attains a no objection certificate and has 30 members, it gets upgraded to a candidate LC after interviews of the local cabinet positions. So basically, you get an NOC, you have 30 members, then the coordinator becomes the official president automatically. And then, as I described in the previous slide, the president carries out the local cabinet interviews in collaboration with the national cabinet to establish the LC. Once the results are out, the LC is established, then the LC is known as a candidate LC. And what we suggest for a newly established candidate LC is to conduct an activity. Why do we do that? Because the activity helps to ensure that after the VPI has provided the assistance to upgrade the position to the candidate LC, the LC stays afloat and can be handed over to the VPA while they work on the activity. And furthermore, this activity ensures sustainability and it acquaints the members with the potential of IFMSA So basically, the members get to know how an activity is conducted, how IFMSA works, and they get more convinced of the cause, and they participate further and propagate the cause of the organization. Next slide, please. So as we've talked about how coordinator college gets upgraded to a candidate LC, similarly a candidate LC, not similarly though, but a candidate LC gets upgraded to a temporary LC, and then the temporary LC gets upgraded to a permanent LC. So for that to happen, a candidate LC must first attend the NGA and prove its credibility to be eligible for voting and consequent upgradation to a temporary LC. What I mean by prove its credibility is that the National Cabinet EB basically evaluates the LC for its upgradation. So if they give you the approval, only then does your LC gets upgraded to the next position. Otherwise, you don't. If the candidate LC gets upgraded to a temporary LC, the new established temporary LC must then attend the next National General Assembly and prove its credibility to get upgraded to a permanent LC. How can you develop LC credibility? You conduct activities, you conduct trainings, workshops, you have new member recruitments regularly, you ensure financial transparency and accountability, you need to have solid support divisions, you need to have effective conflict resolution within the LC so that the conflict doesn't worsen or get spilled outside the LC. And lastly, you promote participation of your LC members in national and international IFMSA events, for example, the sub-regional trainings, SRTs, the National General Assemblies, or the International General Assemblies. Next slide. Wait. So you have gone through this flowchart before. I would just like to revise everything we've gone through so far. As you may be able to see from second row onwards, the candidate LC attends the NGA, it passes a motion for a temporary LC, and then it proves its credibility. If it has submitted financial acceptable reports and membership reports bi-monthly, then a temporary LC similarly attends the next NGA, passes a motion for a permanent LC, and proves its credibility similarly to get upgraded to a permanent LC. Next slide, please. So, since we've talked about how an LC gets promoted, I guess it's worthy to mention how that an LC can get demoted as well, and the process needs to be mentioned. So, a permanent LC can be demoted to a temporary LC, and a temporary LC can be demoted to a candidate LC. So, how a permanent LC gets demoted is if it fails to submit bi-monthly reports and it has mismanagement, it has a lack of sustainability, it has conflicts and feuds that spill out. If it fails to adhere to the working guidelines of IFMSA Pakistan, lacking professionalism, then it gets 2 warnings at a 3-month interval. And if it doesn't improve, the LC is demoted. And similarly, a temporary LC can be demoted to a candidate LC if it fails to submit their reports, if they have mismanagement, if they have a lack of sustainability, if they fail to adhere to the working guidelines of IFMSA Pakistan, and most importantly, they have a stagnant temporary LC status for 3 consecutive years. This implies that the LC is inactive and hasn't been able to be promoted to the status of a permanent LC. So thereafter, it gets demoted. So that's all from my side. I would like to hand over the mic to Roma to continue the presentation. Thank you, everyone.
Okay, Assalamualaikum everyone. This is Roma Ahmed. I'm the Journal Assistant to the Vice President Internals, and I will be talking about the sustainability of the LC. This has been previously discussed very briefly by my colleagues as well, and I would like to shed more light on this. So basically, sustainability, it refers more appropriately to the permanent LCs, since this has been mentioned by my colleagues that as an LC can be promoted, it can be demoted as well. So you need to show some tenaciousness and some tangibility for you to be at the same status and not to be demoted, which ultimately defines what sustainability is. So let's start. Basically, sustainability, it refers to the survival of your LC at any level. Let it be the coordinator college, the candidate LC, the temporary LC, or maybe the permanent LC. it is done through efficient capacity building. So I would say that it falls more or less under the same bracket and umbrella as the capacity building. And since sustainable LCs are the very basic unit of a sustainable NMO, so it in the bigger picture fosters the internal strengthening of your NMO, that is IFMSA Pakistan. Now I would be telling you guys what can you add to the checklist to ensure and to promote the sustainability and the tangibility of your LC. Number one, we have the calls for the assistance. So this is very important. So because after a term ends, the work of the LC for the next term can be taken smoothly and effectively. So this can be done in two ways. Firstly, it can be done with the LC cabinet call by forming the standing committee, and the executive board teams within the LC or a separate call can be opened for the assistance by the relevant standing committee or the executive board members. The interviews for the assistants are done purely internally. That is totally up to your LC. Then we have the share of knowledge. So if I say that this is one of the most important step in the sustainability of your LC and in the sustainability of your NMO in the bigger picture, then that would not be an understatement. So anything that the coordinator, the president, the executive board member, or the cabinet member know should be shared to the journal members of the LC very effectively, since after your term ends, they are the ones who are going to be taking the LC forward, and if they do it efficiently, they are the ones who are going to be taking the NMO forward. So this is how important it is. There shouldn't be any negligence or any hesitance. Nothing at all like this should be tolerated in the share of knowledge. So every executive board member and the local officer, if I say, is the guardian of the capacity building of their own teams. So this can be done, this can be assured to the national teams. I would explain this later. The trainings, the seminars, the workshops, the webinars, and what we have been doing lately in IFMSA Pakistan, the sub-regional trainings. And if your members do not show effective participation in what I have mentioned, then the most simplest way for you to have this is the NGA session. We have all the sessions of all the standing committees of the executive board at the National General Assembly. They are a pool of knowledge. You can take as much as you want. And comprehensive member engagement is highly encouraged, and this is done purely by the presidents and the coordinators. Can I have the next slide, please? So moving on, adding points to the sustainability trainings. So local trainings, the workshops, the seminars, the webinars, as well as the international trainings like SRTs, this I have mentioned previously as well. Trainings for the members of the LC are very inevitable. They should always be organized. I cannot emphasize this enough. The IFMSA Pakistan Executive Board and the Vice President for the capacity building are always bringing local trainings, what I have mentioned before as well. And Vice President capacity building and his team are always at your disposal in the best possible way, and it lies solely up to you to gather as much as your LC needs. Okay, so moving on, we have the National Cabinet and the Executive Board tours. So the governing body of IFMSA Pakistan, as is done previously, as will be done in the future as well, as will be done right now as well. They are always very open, very welcoming, very encouraging to conduct the LC tours. And just to add, in the face of this COVID fiasco, where life has been brought to a halt, IFMSA Pakistan is still working for the virtual tours that are under progress, considering the current situation of pandemic. Then there is something that is very new and that we in this term have generated. They are the LC evaluation form. So the VPI and the team in this term has initiated the LC evaluation that is conducted through the LC evaluation forms. To provide a need-based assistance to your local council to ensure sustainability. So anything that we gather from the LC evaluation forms that you guys are lacking in, we are going to be working at that. We are going to be at your disposal. You can contact us directly, and as the president coordinators can even confirm, we have sent the LC evaluation forms already. Then the VPI's team. Okay, so apparently all of us who are working in the VPI team, all of us have a significant number of LCs that are assigned to us. We are always here. The members are always here to assist you, to help you with anything, any hurdle that you're facing. We can also serve you as a communication channel to the local, to the vice president internals, and in return to the executive board of IFMSA Pakistan. And something more that we have been doing very lately is the National Open Space. So National Open Space, it has been conducted for the first time in this term as the LC evaluation form that I have mentioned previously as well. So if I explain it, this can be termed as a bridge and as a tunnel of communication between a journal member, a journal IFMSA member and the IFMSA Pakistan officials. So basically, it is proceeded as an informally formal meetup where the members understood what IFMSA is, the opportunities, the experience that surely resonates with your interests. And so this has been done for the first time. And yes, and can I move to the next slide, please? So next, moving on to the next point, the National Cabinet webinars. As the one that you are taking right now, one thing like this has been done previously as well by the Vice President Capacity Building, and the entire IFMSA Pakistan Executive Board and the National Cabinet of IFMSA Pakistan is hosting webinars to build the capacity building and contribute to the sustainability of your own LC. Moving on to something which is very important, which I would say regular activities. So basically activities, they are the backbone of your LC. They're something that if I say something that can surely or one-wordly describe the sustainability of your LC is the number of activities. An LC should always conduct a comprehensive number of activities with the pre and the post evaluation, which can ensure the impact of your activity and can also ensure to IFMSA Pakistan the meaningfulness of that, which is actually going to add into the sustainability. And this also assists with member engagement, which purely depends upon the presidents and the coordinators to ensure significant member engagement. The vice president activity and the team are always here to assist you with anything regarding the activities. And moving on to the last point, OLMs of the executive board with the LC. So this is what we have been doing. This is what we are always doing. The Vice President for Internal Affairs and her team shall be arranging the OLMs of your LC with the executive board and the National Cabinet of IFMSA Pakistan to discuss the workings, the hurdles, anything that you're facing in your LC. Meanwhile, also contributing to the establishment of a direct communication between the local and the national. So this was all about the sustainability of your LC, how you can add to it, how you can form more sustainable LCs, how you can play your part in the sustainability of your NMO. And thank you so much, guys. This was it from my side. And now I would like to hand over to Alize to continue for the next. Thanks for your patience listening.
Thank you so much, Roma. Abdullah, can you please change the slide? Abdullah is changing. Another important point in conflict, in sustainability is conflict resolution. So conflicts within the LC are inevitable, and it is a part of a team development to overcome a conflict when one team faces it. So this task of effective conflict resolution falls under the domain of the LC's VPI and the executive board. And the national VPI, thank you, Abdullah, and the national VPI could be involved depending upon the gravity of the situation. Now, the conflicts at a local level should be solved only locally. However, the national VPI should be involved only if the former is unable to do so. Now, a simple model involves in effective conflict resolution. And I will not be brushing on it very elaborately, but I want you guys to know that we will be arranging trainings on conflict resolution for the VPIs of your LCs, so that they can assist you with it. So now conflict resolution effectively can be done by two main ways. Number one is listen to understand, and number two is speak to be understood. So when we want to listen to understand, there are three main ways we want to focus on. There needs to be blending with backtracking and clarifying. Now, when we want to speak to be understood, there's a biofeedback model which we can use to effectively solve the conflict. Next, we have national teams. So I feel if one person is enrolled into a national team, it builds their capacity exponentially in comparison if they are not. Now, every year, calls of national teams are opened for their selection. Now, joining the national teams can be a medium of knowing how things work at a national level and can add to the sustainability of the local council through adequate sharing and application of knowledge. Many of these skilled individuals feel confident enough to come forth at national positions later when the calls for the elections are opened up.
Last is trainings I would lightly like to brush on before I can go to LCs with administrative issues is that there are 3 types of trainings that we have. There are leadership trainings, after which we have to take further trainings to become trainers, and then we have trainer opportunities. Now the leadership trainings are PHLT and PRET. One is for public health and the other one is for exchanges. Now, if you want to become trainers taking these leadership trainings, you need to take a PHLTT online course and a TNET training respectively at the GA to become an exchange trainer and a PHLT respectively. Moving on, we have trainer opportunities which directly make you a trainer. They include the TNT, TMET, training medical education trainers, IPAS, and TNHRT. I hope this is easy to understand. So moving on, then we have LCs with administrative issues. Now the institutional administration can create hurdles a lot of the times, and administrative deficit from your institution can be catered by IFMSA Pakistan, as my team has already told you, by documentation, official ones that can be generated by the executive board. That is the patron letter, along with that introduction letters, orientation letters. Still, if your administration is not on the same page with you and they want you to confirm with them, with the executive board of IFMSA Pakistan, their existence, then you can definitely contact me or one of my team members, and we can arrange an EB tour to your college to talk with your administration directly. Next, moving on, we can also, if they want to confirm the existence of IFMSA Pakistan, give them the reference of the IFMSA International Secretary. We can also give them the contact information so that they can email them, and they can also mail a physical document to the Denmark head office. So this actually brings us to the end of our webinar. Thank you so much for being with us. Abdullah, you can take us to the last slide. So guys, this is a very important contact information. You guys can take a screenshot of this. Abdullah, can you take it back, please? You can take a screenshot. We will also be sending you out the presentation as well as the recorded webinar. So you will have it, but in case if you guys want to take it right now. So this brings us to the end. I would like to mention here that I'm really sorry for the technical inconvenience. I suggest that you guys do not feel overwhelmed with the plethora of emotions. However, I try to keep it as concise as possible in this webinar. But you guys just need to remember that it may seem overwhelming initially. However, it is a process to be transformed from a coordinator college to a permanent LC, and we will be taking you guys one step at a time, me and my team, and so we will try to make it as smooth as possible to transition you from a coordinator college to a permanent LC. It was really nice to have you guys, and we will be entertaining questions